Hello and welcome to today's webinar. Thank you all for joining us. Today's webinar is on how to sell and also how to sell hotels.tv. And once again, thank you for joining us from wherever you are all over the world. It's great to have you here. It's great to see so many of you really engaging with your businesses and really pushing them forward. And for the others, especially the new ones, I hope you find this of interest and inspiring. The lifeblood of any business is sales. Whether you own a shop, whether you do accountancy, whatever you do, the lifeblood. If you're gonna own a business, you're responsible for the day-to-day running, the profitability, the overheads, the expenses, all the things that you need. One of the main elements that you'll see on any balance sheet is sales. Bringing the money in, the front line. That's what it's all about. The better you are at that, the more money you make, the more successful your business is. It's as simple as that. Obviously, you've got to have the other elements in place, the products and the service and all those other aspects that make up your business. Hotels.tv, for example, provide you with the technology, the training, the support, the website. All the elements are in place. Yes, we'll continue to develop that. There'll always be things that we can add to that, but you have a foundation, you have a platform to run your business. From this point, everyone must get out and sell and promote their business and marketing. But sales is a little bit different. Sales is not just marketing and it's not just promoting. Selling is presenting the benefits of your product and service to a potential customer and keeping the presentation relevant to their needs and requirements. So it's looking into how your product is going to benefit someone else. How? Where is their need? There's lots of things you need to identify to get to this purpose. Learning to sell and present your product effectively is very important. So you've got to be able to be very relevant. That's one of the biggest aspects. And you've got to really discover what that client needs. So as we'll see and as we'll uncover, there's a lot about research and really understanding your product. Product knowledge is also essential to this. Who sells? Everyone sells. We're selling all the time. We should be selling all the time. Just the word sales, a lot of people, certainly in the past have had the connotation that sales is a dirty word. Sales is high pressure. So it's nothing of the sort. Everyone sells every day. It's really important that you understand that it's just presenting the benefits of your product or your service. And selling, if you do it the right way, it can be fun, it can be exciting, it can be motivating, and it can be very rewarding. But doing it properly is the skill, not just, and if you don't do it properly and you're not presenting it properly, you may get rejected, which is part of selling, is part of anything. If you owned a shop, people could walk in and go, no, I don't like that, and walk out again. That's a rejection. But somehow when you pick up the phone and talk to someone, or you're talking face to face regarding a possibility, maybe you take it a little bit more personally. We won't cover a lot of that, but that's something really to keep in mind, that this is business, it's not personal. So you must be able to separate the two. But doing this properly is a skill if you want your business to succeed and you want your business to grow. Okay, but it takes determination, persistence, empathy, listening, finding solutions, and being creative as well. Okay, how do we sell? Well, firstly, there's a few things that we need to do to prepare. So in the planning, you must have your product knowledge. This is really important. We've done different webinars on product knowledge before. And if you haven't seen them, please look them up. Product knowledge gives you confidence. if you know the ins and outs of your product, what it does, you also know your market. So you know who else is out there, what people use, what event organizers use, what group organizers, what options they have to cover the accommodation side. You've got to identify a need. You've got to look and research into the event, look at their website, see if they're already connected to anyone, and even if they are connected to someone, you need to find out if they're happy with that, if it's online. Have a look at the hotel choices. Are they relevant? So, all these things are very, very important. Before you even pick up the phone, before you even make that initial call, it's really important that you've researched and you've planned and you're confident by the time you go to pick that up. Now, you will learn this by making mistakes. As they say, you've got to fail in order to learn sometimes. Now, we can try and minimize that, but don't let that stop you from picking up the phone and having a go. It's really important. The sooner you do that, the sooner you learn. So if you're sitting there and you're apprehensive about making that first call, first of all, just make sure your product knowledge is in place. Make sure you know what you're selling. Make sure you know what you've got to offer. The words may not come out right, and that's fine. The people who you're talking to don't know what you're going to say. They have no expectations of your conversation. So if you make mistakes, you jumble things up, you do it left to right, back to front, whatever the case, it doesn't matter. Okay, but learn from that, learn from the reaction, take notice, identify the needs of your clients, and deliver. Now, what is your purpose? What are you looking to achieve? Always go into a conversation. I'm looking to make an appointment, or I'm looking to make a sale over the phone, or I'm looking just to find out some information. Just be very aware and even write it down on an Excel spreadsheet when you call that person. Purpose. What do you want? So that you can at least measure your success against something. So if you've actually achieved something, great. It makes you feel better and it inspires you to pick the phone up and do it again. But know what you're trying to achieve. Lead generation. What's your market? Who is considered a lead to you? And if you don't know what a lead is a potential customer. Okay, and there are different levels. There is qualified lead and unqualified lead. And a qualified customer is someone that you've researched that is suitable to your product or service. And unqualified is really a stab in the dark, as they say. But, you can get results out of unqualified leads. That's not a problem. Sometimes we still have to call some of those, but it's also about time management, something we're not covering in this session. But, there's an old saying, don't spend good quality time on poor quality people. So by knowing your market, qualifying your market and identifying their needs and doing things through the planning process will cut down the amount of wasted time. We all only have so many hours in the day that we can actually operate and work. So let's make sure we're very prepared, we've planned, we know what we've researched, we know what we're trying to achieve, we have a purpose, and we know what our market is. Let's pick up the phone and then contact your marketplace. Now, making a cold call is probably the most difficult aspect of the business, and a lot of people consider it to be the most difficult aspect of any business. But if you can get over that difficulty or that apprehension, then you're in a very, very strong position, because that is what separates you from your market. Your market is on one side of the wall and you're standing on the other side of the wall. So what you have to do is understand where the need is and really prepare and have your product knowledge to know where our product fits into their scenario in order to make that cold call successful. In other words, you're going in with value. You're adding value to their proposition. You have an angle. You have something that you're trying to fix, a problem you're trying to solve for them. Build the urgency with that. Make it so that's your top priority when you do go and make that call. Okay? Sometimes some of the leads we get are not cold. Sometimes people have seen us or heard of us through somewhere else, or maybe they've come to you through LinkedIn or one of your other networking activities, and they're looking for someone to help them, which is great. But if you want to be very targeted and you want to control your market, then you need to be able to pick up the phone, targeting the specific event that you want to talk to, and you need to be able to make an appointment with them. Okay? You need to be able to tell them enough to get their interest and to show them how you're going to solve their problem, but not too much that you're trying to get a decision over the phone. Okay? So take it one step at a time, and that builds trust and also builds a relationship between you and the client. Arrange to meet them at one of your hotels. That should be your purpose. Your purpose from this particular call is not only finding need, but it's also meeting with this person. You want to make sure it's a very even relationship. These people need some help with their accommodation booking, and you'd like to work with them and put them in touch with your hotel. So if you meet them at one of your hotels, if that's a possibility, sometimes it's not, because some people are overseas and they actually need your help even more if they're not in the destination. So meet them at one of your hotels, and then at least what you can do is demonstrate your technology. You can have already made a private booking area for them by the time you meet them. Now, only make the private booking areas up if you've got a confirmed appointment with them. Don't go making any private booking areas before that, just if you're going to email people, because it's a lot of work for, just stabbing in the dark. Once again, it's about qualifying and being more direct, and really planning. But meeting at one of the hotels does a number of things for you. It gives your client a lot of trust in what you're doing. Shows that you're in the hotel industry, and you could get one of the managers that maybe you've already met at the hotel to show this client around the hotel. So it's a great way to introduce yourself. They now trust that you're connected in the hotel industry and you're the person that can help. And then they're going to sit down with you. You're going to show them the private booking area and arrange an agreement to be their exclusive booking agent, and then run marketing campaigns and things to help push and promote each event. That's actually what your purpose should be. That's what you're trying to achieve. But take it one step at a time and build the trust. Don't go in too hard. The presentation stage is in 4 simple steps, which we'll go through shortly. And then the close. The close is just simply asking for the order. It's just saying, okay, can we get started then? Because sometimes people are waiting for you to ask, and then sometimes in the sales process, maybe you're a bit shy about asking, or maybe you're a bit scared about asking for something because they might say no. Well, what I'm going to do is show you that you have to ask the question in order to get the answer. And quite often, if they have an objection, or they have a problem or some questions or a lack of understanding about certain elements, it's only when you ask them if they want to go ahead that you actually get that reaction from them. So it's really important even to get a no, because you can then ask, well, can I ask you why? What's the reason that you've said no? And then you could basically listen to what they're saying. And then what they're going to tell you is actually the elements that are missing in your presentation that maybe you haven't explained, or relevant points that mean something to this client that they don't quite understand, that should you address them effectively, you will get business and they will do an agreement with you. But until you actually ask the question, you're speaking at them, not with them, and you're not listening to them. So it's really important you go step by step. So let's just briefly recap. So what we want to do is plan properly and identify the client, so we save ourselves time and we're speaking to the right people. We want to know what we're trying to achieve. We know what our market is. We've picked up the phone and have a chat to these people. Then we've arranged to meet them at one of our hotels after doing a quick introduction over the phone, because we really want to show them a property that may be of real interest to them, introduce them to the manager where they'll be able to get some amazing rates and added value. That's another incentive for them meeting you there. Then when you're together, you're going to do a presentation, which is 4 easy steps, including asking them to go ahead. And if you ask them, you will find out any objections that they have or any problems, so it gives you an opportunity to address those, to really put a comprehensive opportunity together for both of you to continue working together. And through this process, you're also going to be building trust. Very, very important. But number one, you need to have belief in what you're doing. You need to believe that you can help people and you can solve a problem. You can solve a problem they may not know they already have as well. You can identify that and really help them in that particular area. How do we get belief? Well, back to this first point, product knowledge and understanding your market. Okay, knowing what your product does, how it works, and knowing your market, what these event organizers and groups are currently doing, what they're having to go through at the moment to find what they need every single time, what the thought process is of the hotels, how the hotels think when a group organizer calls them up at that hotel and starts to ask them for decent rates, who they speak to. Do they speak to the reservations department? No, they get pushed to the group sales department. In the group sales department, do they have any decision makers that they're talking to, or are they just talking to the frontline group sales who has a sheet that they read out of set prices? And this is the same with you when you go negotiating. What about who's the decision maker? Let's make people value what we're doing. So, and value the booking. So let's talk to the director of sales or the revenue manager that can make better decisions than the frontline group sales or the salespeople that are just reading off a sheet. It's your job to push this envelope and to really know how far you can actually get. This is knowing your market. This is identifying the needs of your clients and being able to overshoot and over-deliver when you actually do this for your clients. And that's what we're looking for you to do, over-deliver. If there's breakfast not included and even the client hasn't even asked, why don't you ask for breakfast? Get them breakfast anyway. Get them a better rate anyway, even if your client hasn't asked. Over-deliver. That's what impresses this market. But having belief in what you can do and you can do things that the event organizers themselves cannot do. One of those things is the fact that and this is knowing your product as well, is that you're not going to do this for one event. Like they're going to approach the hotel for one event. You're approaching the hotels for 20 events a year, 30 events a year. So that puts you in a much different position than if you're just one event organizer approaching a hotel for a rate. The hotel will give you their frontline sales department and say, look, here's a rate. But if they're allowing you to do it as their agent and you're doing 20 events in that city and you know which buttons to push because you're local, you understand your market, you know which hotels are best suited, you know the people at the hotels, you can push that beyond and really impress that client, get a good deal for the hotels. Everyone wins. So you need belief in what you're doing and what you can achieve before you even pick up the phone to make that call. Because it's your belief and your enthusiasm and the way that you will build trust in that conversation, which will make an appointment for people to meet you. And during the presentation, your introduction to the hotel manager who's going to show them around, and your presentation will blow them away. And they will wonder how they've ever dealt with this without your assistance because of what you can do. They will feel like without working with you, they've been missing something. And you want them to think that. Your key in this is having them understand that they are missing out by not working with you. This is why we're building a global agency with agents in every city in the world, because that can only be achieved by you sitting in the hotel, sitting with the client, sitting there and negotiating with the hotels. It's the only way it can happen. Otherwise, everyone just buys what Booking.com says or Agoda says or any of these other agents. That is not real. That is not the best you can do. That is not good for a group or multiple room bookings. It's so important that you understand that and that you can emphatically explain that to your clients and sign an agreement with them, so you have the exclusive agreement for that event, so that it gives you the power to go and negotiate with these hotels. It doesn't work the other way around. You ask anyone in the travel industry, any travel agents, we've got some of them in our network. Some rates are negotiated 12 months in advance. That can always be beaten on the spot, directly relevant to the particular group that's looking to book right now. It can always be beaten by contacting the hotels, their director of sales, their revenue manager, and negotiating a better deal. It can always be beaten because you're local and you understand the market. That's how powerful a position that you're in, but you have product knowledge. You have to get product knowledge. You have to have belief. You have to understand what's going on in the market. I hope that's fairly clear, but that is where you add value into this proposition. And if you just try and be an online agent like everyone else, then unless your market needs that, which some markets still do, and there is opportunity in that market, then it's up to you to decide. But you have to be able to add value. And that's why we give you both sides of this business. We give you the public end, so people can just come on and make a booking if that suits your market. And we have the private booking areas, which is far more focused, which is very unique, and where you can do multiple room bookings for a single event at a negotiated rate. So please, please, please know your product and have that undying belief as to how you can serve your market. So, okay, we've covered some of this, so we'll whiz through a lot of these particular points. But product knowledge, be confident with your product. Market, who is your best market opportunity? Now, you'll know that from being within your territory. Every territory is different. We've got leisure territories, business territories, mountain, ski resort territories, all these different things that it down. Some people focus on weddings. Some people have contacts in the corporate world. Some people love doing exhibitions. All the agents sort of focus on a different particular area. Remember, this is a platform, but it has to bend around your market, and you have to identify that. You also have to identify their need, research and find out what they need, and also be open to opportunities. Okay, and I've told several people about an opportunity that came across my desk recently. I'm linked in to a few different hotel forums. They send mail shots and junk mail all the time. One came through saying that there was an event in Orlando for a luxury travel fair. I clicked on the link. That just happened to come through a feed from LinkedIn. And then I saw that they didn't have any this is the Luxury Hotel Association, didn't have a booking system. So I called them and I said, well, look, you've got this great event, but you don't have a booking system. You've just mentioned the Hyatt is nearby and it's now fully booked. Well, we can attach the booking system and go and locate those hotels for you. So now I have an appointment to speak further, and we're going to see what we can do for the 2016 event. That simply came out of an opportunity. So you've got to be aware that everyone, everywhere, has an opportunity leading you to hotels and leading themselves to hotels. So really be open to that. But be active. Activity breeds opportunity. There is no doubt about that. You must be active, and you'll probably realize it a little bit more from the lead generation side when we explain this. Okay. The simple rule is if you're not talking to people, you're not going to do any business. Now, let me repeat that. If you're not talking to people, if you're not active, if you're not prospecting, if you're not lead generating, okay, you're not going to be able to make any business. How is it possible? If you have a shop and you don't open your doors, how do people get in? If people don't understand what you do, how do they buy your service? If you talk to one person, you have one opportunity. If you talk to 20 people, you have 20 opportunities. The rule of law says that not everyone's going to want or need your service. So if you talk to one person, then it doesn't give you much of an opportunity. If you talk to 5 people, or you're meeting 5 people, and 1 or 2 don't need your service, that leaves 3 people that may do. So by increasing your activity and increasing your lead generation plan, you increase your prospects, and that increases your revenue. It's just a simple case of activity. Okay? But if you miss a week, you're busy, you haven't planned your week effectively enough, all of a sudden something's happened, oh, I've lost a week. Okay, you are missing revenue. You have to be disciplined to have your own business. You have to make sure you set a number of hours aside to prospect, to lead generate, to network. Join the Chamber of Commerce, go onto LinkedIn, whatever it is. Be active depending on your plan. What is your plan? What's the market you're trying to achieve? Who are the clients you're trying to talk to? So what is your plan? Do you have a plan? Okay, if you don't have a plan, get one quickly, because that will be affecting your revenue every single day. So how many people do you need to speak to make an appointment? What's your closing ratio? Do you know your closing ratio? Have you thought about your closing ratio? So I get one client who signs an agreement with me per 10 appointments that I go and see. Okay. So how many appointments did you see this week? 5. So how many sales did you do? None. Well, you didn't do any sales because you didn't do enough appointments. You need another 5 appointments to get 1. So make sure you've got your appointments. Now, it might be less than that. You know, I close about 1 or 2 in 5 of the appointments, sometimes more, sometimes 3, 4 out of 5, because I qualify very hard. I make sure I'm really talking to the right people and they have the right level of need in my service, and I do a lot of research before I even pick up the phone. You know, that's key. So my success rate is actually very good, and it always has been for 10 years as an agent directly. That was the secret to our business, is that, you know, we then got referred on to people because we'd helped other people, and that all stemmed because of a quality lead generation plan we had initially. So even if it's 1 in 10, that's fine. So see 20 people a week, you know, and that means how many calls do you have to make to get 5 or 10 appointments, to get 1 appointment, to get 2? Do you know your appointment ratio? So, okay, and the only way you're going to do that is by picking up the phone and start calling, and call events and groups, and really, you know, get a list together and start approaching them, or join your Chamber of Commerce and have a meet. You need to be busy, busy, busy. But once again, it stems from having that belief and knowing your product and seeing where the opportunities are. And then work it out. And, you know, everyone's going to be slightly different, but on average, you know, if you make 20 calls a day, and you do it for, say, on Monday and a Tuesday, you've made 40 calls. You know, let's be conservative. Okay, so let's say you make 5 appointments a week and you get 1 new client a week. 1 new client a week could deliver you 30, 40, 50 hotel bookings, maybe 100, maybe 500 hotel bookings. So it's really valuable. And if you do 4 of them a month, you might gain 4 new events per month. As your snowball builds up, that's 36 events a year. 36 events a year, each event could deliver you from 100 to 500 room nights. So hopefully you see the correlation between your activity, your lead generation plan, to the amount of people you're calling and talking to what success your business is actually going to have. But just remember, better research makes for better leads and less time wasting. And get on with it. Here's a typical cold calling presentation just to help you. Keep it short and interesting. Hi, I'm Harrison from Hotels TV. We handle the hotel booking arrangements. We're partners for many events around the world. One is the SolarX event in Istanbul. Now, think about who I'm talking to. I'm perhaps talking to someone who's doing a solar exhibition in this city. You know, we've had some really good success with that particular event. I'll do a bit of research beforehand and make sure they understand. I see you're running the solar event for Orlando. The reason event organizers partner with us is that we can increase their exhibitor satisfaction, attendee retention, member benefits. by providing selected accommodation at negotiated rates better than where they can get anywhere else. And it also makes you look good as the event organizer that we can do this. And it can also cut down the amount of calls and inquiries you may receive. I see you've got that on your hotel page at the moment. You've got a few hotels listed there. But there's no online booking facility. These people are not getting value because they're having to go to booking.com and these other people treated as an individual where we treat them as a group. So our service is free of charge to you as an organizer, and we provide a link from the website to a selection of negotiated hotels. However, I have a business proposition to you, and what I'd like to do is get together with you, show you how it all works, and then discuss that proposition. Like I said, it's free. There's no issue. There's nothing to buy. What you can do is you could possibly, start to monetize your event or create some free rooms for some of your organizers by working with us. So when would be a good time to meet? We're partners with this particular hotel. It'd be great to take you there and also buy you a coffee and give you a bit of a show round of that hotel, and let's see what deals we can do for this particular property that can help benefit your event, make you look great, and possibly bring in new sponsor partners and different things that can happen. So it's how you kind of word it, what angle you're looking to promote. You just want about 10-15 minutes of their time in a hotel, buy them a coffee, give them a bit of a show round. That'll obviously extend and turn into half an hour or so, but it's things. You're just trying to tempt them in that there's a service that can add value to their event. And then once you get together, they'll be able to see. If you try and do this over the phone, it's too long-winded, they're busy, they're not looking at the screen, there's no visual impact, it's very difficult to do that. They'll just ask you to send an email. And if you just hit people by sending emails, well, you know what? They don't get it initially, so they're just going to delete the email or forget it. They get 1,000 emails a day. So you have to be very specific about the way you contact people. You've got to be very enthusiastic over the phone, very sincere, very empathetic to what they're trying to do, very knowledgeable about what they're trying to do as well. And when you're knowledgeable like that and you show that you care and that you're researched, it means it's relevant to the person you're talking to. You're not just another salesperson trying to sell them something. You're actually someone who's connected with their event, trying to make things better. Now, not everyone's going to go, yeah, that's great, I need that, okay? And you've got to be prepared for that. That's why you've got to do your numbers. What are your numbers? Your lead generation numbers. And you've got to not take this personally. This isn't about you. Zip yourself into that super person that can take a no, can take someone going, oh, you know what, look, it's not really for me. Fine, no problem. Do you know anyone else it could be of interest to? No? Yes? Great, get a name. You might find some different things out about that industry also. And then move on. Pick up the phone, make another call. Now knowing, being a bit stronger and being a bit more aware of the industry, use a couple of people to get your product knowledge up while you're actually doing it. Okay, gatekeepers. Do you know what a gatekeeper is? A gatekeeper is someone who picks up the phone like a secretary and goes, no, they're not available. Can you just email them? Okay, now gatekeepers should not be a problem if you've done your research properly. Most events will link you to the actual organizer. Their websites will actually link you to the organizer's own details. So there's no gatekeeper. They don't walk around. These people don't walk around with their own personal assistants usually. They're busy people. They're putting this event together. They want help, but they want the right help. They just don't want someone coming in and upsetting the apple cart. They want someone going, you know what? I see you're really busy. You have no time to help these people with their accommodation, but I can do that for you. And you can even earn out of this. So it doesn't cost you. You can actually earn or get some free rooms or whatever the incentive is that you need to talk about. Okay. So it's how you put it together. If you just ring an organization and say, I just want to know if you guys do any hotel bookings, I'd like to help you. That is a stab in the dark. That is unresearched. I guarantee the person on the other end will go, no, we don't. We use booking.com or we've already sorted that, or we have an agency, or we have they don't need that, because right then, unless you've actually caught them in the middle of a search in a city which has no availability left because it's busy, you're not going to win business with that approach. Our private booking areas are very targeted to the event. Your approach and the way you help people is by being very targeted as well and being very researched. So put the work in and you'll get the results. Okay, work on a 1 in 5 conversion ratio. Okay, that's what you're looking to do, 1 in 5. So let's make 50 calls a week. It's not that many, okay? Make 50 calls a week to potential events or groups or individuals or sports venues, or, you know, if you need help finding 50 potential clients a week, then let us know. Contact support@hotels.tv and we'll maybe help develop some ideas for you in your territory. I mean, you've got sports venues where you could talk to the general manager. You've got clubs. I mean, Google is full. Don't just think it's the top conferences that attend your city. It's everything else that potentially comes in numbers. From that 50, you'll then make 10 appointments. From those 10 appointments, you'll have 2 new clients a week. And those clients could be anything from 1 room to 1,000 rooms. Okay, this is your role. This is how you bring value into the business, and this is how you build a very successful, very enjoyable business. Okay, tips for your presentation. Write it out. Okay, just write it down on a piece of paper. It doesn't matter, like I said before, if you follow it exactly or not, but just kind of rehearse it. Research it. Websites, competitors, event calendars, customers, contacts, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. I mean, there's so many different ways. We've given so many examples over time. If you're looking at a conference, before you even pick up the phone, jump onto Twitter, type in the conference name. You can read discussions and chats. You can get an idea of the vibe, of the atmosphere around that event. You can even plug in hotels into that search on Twitter, and you can even find people who are researching hotels. Hey, does anyone know where a hotel is near the venue? Anyone recommend a good hotel? These are the conversations that take part. And the only way you get involved is by getting involved. Okay, so remember, you know, what also we like to do, which we'll talk about, is actually, you know, be there through the whole event, contract the event. Then have the event organizers work with you and do a mail shot, and then engage with them on social media, Twitter, about the event, that you're the booking agent. Here's a deal. Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, whatever other social markets that they might be connected to. Then actually turn up to the event, put a stand up at the event. Branding, branding, branding. By the time people have seen you, it resonates. They'll see you, they'll know you, and you do that for a year, 2 years, 3 years, you will not only build a pipeline of event business, but you'll build up your pipeline of public booking business, just general bookings into the city. They'll be coming back to you because they can trust you. Build your knowledge. That will build your confidence. Build rapport between you and the clients by caring about their event. Make it interesting, relevant, be creative. Think outside of the box with these people. How can you help them? You've got a great opportunity. We win business because some of our events need us, because people need an easy way to book accommodation. Because if they don't have an easy way to book accommodation, what can happen is people will not sign up and come back to their event next year. So it plays a far more important part in the event than perhaps many of you as agents realize. So get familiar with that. Okay, how do we present? Okay, the way we do presentations is very easy. Everything you sell in this world, you can use this 4-step format. Whether you're picking up the phone, putting a presentation together just to talk to someone, or you're actually face-to-face with someone, no matter what. Introduction. Hey, I'm Harrison. I'm from Hotels TV. What I want to do is take you through what we're doing here today. I'm going to ask you a couple of questions, tell you how the business works, and then I'm going to see if that's the right choice for you to make. That's called an introduction. Puts everyone at ease. because they know exactly what's about to happen. Number 2, questions. Look, before we get started, can I ask you a few questions? Look, what are you doing at the moment? How are you doing your bookings now? What did you do before? Is that frustrating? Is that good? You tell me. So not only you having a conversation, you're asking them questions which mean they have to talk to you. That shows interest. It builds rapport. It gives you lots of valuable information so that when you move on to the presentation stage, all these questions, okay, you can now put into your presentation and make your presentation incredibly relevant to the wants, desires, likes, all the aspects that are important to this person you're now talking to. And at the end of it, so what do you think about that? How does that look to you? I've addressed the issues. You've said these are points that you are concerned with. I've addressed them. Does that address those particular areas? That's great. Can we get started then? What I can do is I can draw up an agreement for you now, and we can start this, and within the next few days we can have you linked across and start accepting bookings, and then I can start negotiating with these partner hotels. How does that sound? Is that a deal? Now at that point, someone might say, ooh, let me think. Good. We want them to think at that point. We want them to be thinking, you know what? I really like it. They've addressed everything. Yeah, why not? Are there any points that I haven't asked that I need to? That's what they start thinking. You put yourself in their shoes, they start thinking that as well. So now what happens is they'll voice something. They'll voice an objection. It might not be an objection. It might be just a point. Okay. Just because they voice it at that point doesn't mean it's a negative. Okay. The reason they're saying this is because you've asked them a question directly. Do they want to go ahead with this? Do they want to buy what you're selling? And they've thought, oh, this is my choice, my chance just to ask any last minute kind of questions or deals or whatever. Okay. But like I say, they may not be deal breakers. So don't treat them like deal breakers. There is a way to handle this. And let me show you how. Okay. Firstly, find out what that objection is. They've told you, okay, well, yeah, I'm not sure about this point. Okay, so you say, okay, apart from that point, so this is before you even answer it. Because if you just go ahead and answer it, they might come up with another one. Then you answer that, and this could go on forever. So first of all, write it down. Say, apart from that, is there anything else stopping you from going ahead? You could ask them, would that stop you from going ahead? Or no, maybe it's just no, I just want to know. Okay, so apart from that, is there anything else? So if I could solve that, then you'd be happy to get started. And then what you do, they agree to that, and then you go ahead and you solve the problem for them, or you provide a solution for them. You say, okay, how does that sound? Can we get started now? So you ask them again. And then you say nothing and let them answer. And that is basically a very, very simple way of handling an objection and not being scared to ask, would you like to go ahead with this? Would you like to buy my product? If you're in a shop and someone's holding a teapot, would you just both stand there and look at each other? She's holding up the teapot and you're standing on the other side going, I wonder if she's going to ask me to buy it. I want to buy this. Maybe you would turn around and say, would you like to buy that? And she'll go, yes, I would, thank you. Because quite often the people are expecting you to be the ones to ask them to go ahead with their service. Would you like to go ahead with that? Everywhere you go, people do it. Why don't they do it in what you're doing? If you go and get your car washed, someone's going to say, would you like your car washed? Okay, you have to zip yourself into that persona of business. This is not personal anymore. Okay, this is business. You want that. Why do you want that? You should want that more than anything because you've already done your research and you've already realized that this is a great event and they need your help. So you should be so passionately trying to close this business that they can see and feel and hear your enthusiasm to want to work with them. Okay, that builds trust. That means you care. That is relevant to the client. So if you follow those steps, once again, introduce yourself, ask them questions before you present your product. Present it relevant to the questions and answers you've just received. Then ask them to go ahead. Then if they come up with an objection, make sure it's the only objections they have. And if you can solve that, you've got a deal. And if you can, you ask the question and you go ahead. That all stems from your product knowledge, from your belief in the product, and your activity. Then once you've got the event, follow up. Deliver on your promises. Make sure you deliver things on time. Connect to those hotels, which is a completely different topic, negotiating with the hotels. But you can use the same sort of practices that we've talked about here, how to sell your hotels, to convince your hotels that they need to give you really good rates and added value for this client. You can use the same format. Promote your event. Ensure your organizers during the contracting stage have also accepted some marketing responsibility. They're going to email their database. They're going to email all their people and say, hey, Hotels TV are our booking agents. They've got some great deals. You need to book with them. Okay? And then you follow up on social media and keep having, so just because you've got the event doesn't mean you stop your work. Your activity should continue, because that will make, now you've done the hard bit, you're in. But now you've got to really build up the bookings to maximize what you can receive out of that event. And now you've got to build trust between you and the clients, and you do that through their website, through their mail shots, but also jumping onto social media and Twitter and Facebook and going, hey, it's me. We are the linked official booking agents for this event. Fantastic. Come along. If you need something else, if you've got any particular requirements, then come to me and I'll help solve that for you. Here's my telephone number. Here's my email address. Let's talk about your group or event. You can have groups within groups. So not only that, there might be 20 people all booking through a company to attend that event. That's what you want. So they're going to need a little bit more personalized attention. So make sure you're really working and active. So you've got a couple of levels here. One level, Mondays and Tuesdays, you're doing your prospecting, but maybe Wednesdays and Thursdays and Fridays, you've set yourself up for meeting these event organizers and working on the events as well. So make sure your times are very clearly set. Then what about referrals? Okay. Get referrals off them. Which other events do you do? I'd love to work with you. If it's out of town or if it's in another destination, you can work and partner with one of the other Hotels TV agents. So what else? Let's maximize where we go. We're a global agency. The reason we are global is to do exactly that. And what about other people that you might be able to help? Marketing. Encourage the event bookers, the people booking those, to actually use your public website as well. So once they've seen you promoted through the event organizers and they've seen you at the event because you've maybe put a stand up at the event, okay, so they've seen you on Twitter, they know the brand, and they've already booked through you. Why wouldn't they book you to book that city or another city again now that they know they can trust you? What will happen is they'll actually end up coming back to you directly and saying, hey, I'm booking to this city. Can you help me with any rates here? Because now they've got someone on the inside. They've got a trusted voice they've used before. Why would they go anywhere else when you've already proven that you could get them a better deal? So that's the end of this presentation. I really hope you've enjoyed that, and it's helped put a few aspects of selling and how to sell Hotels TV in perspective. We'll continue this with future models. And provide some future webinars targeting specific areas that you might need to address.